Hi everyone, this is Reyes Ramirez with Fresh Arts, coming at you live from the Arts District, which is kind of near the Heights in Houston. If you've never been, you should come whenever you get a chance, beyond this crisis, but who knows. But yeah, today we have a really great lineup of guests to have a really great conversation. But first, if you never tuned in before, if you don't know what Fresh Arts is, we are a nonprofit arts organization that provides resources in many ways to artists in Houston, but also beyond Houston. A lot of our resources are digital, online, that are free, that are accessible. So please check us out at fresharts.org. We have many other resources that we have available for you as an artist, or if not, if you want to access the arts, we have some really great resources for that. But today, this video is part of a series of workshops, of online discussions that are aimed to help artists get a leg up or to survive or find different ways to survive this economic downturn, the COVID-19 crisis, and kind of invite guests on who can speak to different issues, to different topics, to really give artists the information that they need and that they're looking for. And so again, like I said, today we have some really great guests. We have them back from Houston Arts Alliance, HAA, to speak about some recent developments regarding certain funds that I've opened up, certain benefits that I've opened up since our last discussion. And so really can't wait to kick that off. So we have Lauren Hainley from HAA, Disaster Services Program Manager. And then we have Jimmy Castillo, who is not in right now, but hopefully we'll be able to get him online soon. He is the Director of Civic and Design for Houston Arts Alliance. So Lauren, please start us off. If you could give a quick recap for viewers who maybe haven't tuned in before, could you give a quick recap of HAA and your department?
Sure. So HAA's principal work is to institute the City of Houston's vision for arts and culture. We do that through two major programs. One is through a granting program, which is probably where most people know us, where we give out grants directly to the community in the City of Houston. The second major contract that we have with the city is Civic Art and Design, where we manage the city's civic art program, including all of the art at the airports and in the libraries. So anywhere you see a piece of art that is owned by the City of Houston, Jimmy's the one that sort of is in charge of that. And then we also do special projects for the community. So my project is called Disaster Services. And what we do, we're funded not by the City of Houston, but privately. And we do we connect people like artists and arts organizations to the existing emergency management systems and try to get you help when things like COVID-19 happen. And I apologize, I did not lock my cat out before this live.
All good, I get it. Add some personality to this. But yeah, that's great. Could you go a little bit into how your department was created initially in terms of what disaster and then kind of how you've adjusted what you've been doing or what you used to from a physical disaster to an economic impact disaster?
Sure. Yeah, so in the wake of Hurricane Harvey, Houston Arts Alliance and Fresh Arts and Dance Source and the Houston Endowment and the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs all came together to create what was called the Harvey Arts Recovery Fund. And the Harvey Arts Recovery Fund, if you may remember, gave out grants to people in a couple, like 8 counties or 10 counties around Houston in the wake of Hurricane Harvey to help them recover from that storm. After that, we realized as a community that we needed to be more prepared and we needed to be a more resilient community. So for the last year and a half, we've been doing, this is Freya, we've been doing research on how we can be better prepared as a community. And one of the things that came out of that was the idea that we needed someone or some program that could connect artists to the emergency management systems, because what we learned is that artists and government, or not government, but emergency management and disaster people kind of speak different languages, and so we needed a translator to translate across those things. So that's what I've been doing, is learning the emergency management system. My background is in arts administration. And I've been learning how to speak emergency manager so that I can translate that to you guys and to help us connect into those systems more completely. Because the one thing that we really believe at the Disaster Services Program is that, more than anything else, artists are people, and arts organizations are businesses, and artists are businesses. And so we should have access to all of the services and all of the opportunities and resources that are available to every individual and every business that the rest of society has. Did that answer your question?
I think more than I could have asked for. No, thank you. That was great. So to kind of get into the nitty gritty of what's happening, of what has happened. So the Texas Workforce Commission, an institution within the state of Texas that handles a lot of issues, but particularly in our context is unemployment. And so could you kind of go over what's changed?
Sure.
Maybe go into like what it has been before, and then now what's different regarding
Absolutely.
the news that they have now opened up some kind of, well, you would know more. Please go ahead.
No, yeah. So normally unemployment is not available to contract workers or to the self-employed unless you've paid into the Texas unemployment system. It's a very complicated insurance thing that even I don't understand. And so what happened a couple of weeks ago was the passage of the CARES Act in Congress. And the CARES Act expanded unemployment to include not just people who have been laid off from regular jobs, W-2 jobs, but also 1099 workers, so contract workers and people who are self-employed. And what that means is that you don't have to have reported a specific employer on your taxes or have worked for someone full-time in order to receive unemployment. And it took a while for the Texas Workforce Commission to kind of institute that into their systems because their systems are old, and that's how it works. And so just Monday, they announced that they are now able to process the applications for those 1099 workers, for contract workers, which is what most artists are. And so they're able to start processing that unemployment. So that's the first really good piece of that's the first piece of really good news. And what that means for an individual artist is that if you've applied for unemployment over the last 3 months and you've been denied based on wages, you don't have to do anything. So the Texas Workforce Commission is going to contact you and has flagged your application, and they will contact you to get you to move forward in the process. If you have been hesitant to apply for unemployment because you have not had an employer in the past, then now's the time to do it. So now's the time to apply for unemployment. What they are asking you to provide is your 1040 from last year. That also includes the income that you provided. So they'll be basing your unemployment amount on the amount of money that you made in the last year that you paid taxes. So that's exciting. So the second piece of good news about unemployment that came out of the CARES Act is that in Texas, the maximum amount you could get from unemployment is $500 per week. And the CARES Act instituted this increase. So everyone who qualifies for unemployment will receive not only whatever the state of Texas says that you're qualified for, but also an additional $600 a week on top of your normal amount from April 4th through July 31st. So that's really great. And then the other thing that Texas Workforce has said is that they understand that their system has been backed up. They understand that people have been out of work for a very long time, and that they are, for every every claim, they're going to backdate it to your last date of employment. So if you apply today, but you've been out of work since March 1st, they're going to pay all those back wages to you once you get approved. So that's really great news. We didn't know if they were going to do that, and so now we know that they are. And then the last thing is that the CARES Act added 12 weeks of unemployment payment for people. So normally in Texas, and this is a lot of information about unemployment, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but normally in Texas, you get 26 weeks of unemployment payments, and then you don't get any more. But the CARES Act added 12 more weeks. So now you can go for 38 weeks of unemployment, and that includes people who have already run out. So let's say you have been unemployed since the middle of last year, and you ran out of unemployment. Then the Texas Workforce Commission will contact you, and if you're qualified, and say, hey, you get 12 more weeks of unemployment, because the government understands that there's no jobs out there for you to get. So there's some really good news around unemployment over the last couple of days, and we're really excited to get artists to apply, because we think this is going to be a really great way for you guys to get access to those resources that you need to keep yourselves working and to keep yourselves in your homes and fed and your lights on.
Absolutely. Kind of going into maybe some of the details. So for people who've already applied,
Mm-hmm.
so you're saying that they don't have to do anything. They just have to wait for some kind of correspondence from the Texas Workforce Commission.
That is what they've told me. They said that if you've applied and you were denied for that reason, if you were denied for wages, then they will contact you. If you were denied for another reason, I would encourage you to contact the local Texas Workforce Commission in Houston, and they can probably answer some questions for you.
And then for people who have never applied before,
Mm-hmm.
the application process, what you've mentioned that they should have a 1040. What does that mean? What is that? Maybe it's someone who's hasn't gotten that. Maybe they're 1099 workers. What is something that they should have together when they start this application?
Sure. So your 1040 is what you submit to the government when you pay your taxes. So it's just your tax form, your regular, this is all the money I made form that you send to the government. All you really need to apply for unemployment is your name, your social security number, and then your wages. It's really very simple. It seems complicated. They ask a lot of questions, but 90% of the stuff is just stuff you have in your brain. Where do I live? What's my social security number? Who was my last employer? Those sorts of things.
And then should they have that in a PDF form? Should they have scan it? Kind of like in the nitty gritty of it. I mean, I haven't been able to, or I've not gone into that application process, and so just kind of giving an idea of what people should anticipate, what they should have ready to kind of make that process easy as possible.
So I also have not applied for unemployment, so I don't know. And I'm also not a contractor, so I wouldn't follow those rules. But what I can tell you is that there's a form. So you go into the Texas Workforce Commission, you sign up for a login, you get a PIN number, so they make sure that it's you, and then you just fill out a form. It asks you your name. You don't have to have anything already written down. And then you have until, from what I understand, December 31st to turn in your 1040 to the government. If you have it in a PDF form, I believe you can upload it into the application, and that would make the processing go faster. But you don't have to. You can mail it in, I believe, or fax it.
Thank you.
Into that.
Yeah, if you're into that, yeah. No, thank you. And then another question would be that there's different streams, there's different ways that people can kind of recoup these lost income or find ways to stay afloat. So do you have any kind of pointers or tips in regards to what people should maybe pay attention to. So if someone gets unemployment, should they just stick to that, or should they also apply for like a PPP or like an SBA, whatever? Do you recommend like a mix? Do you recommend for people to kind of, please, if you could speak to that.
Oh my gosh. I recommend people apply for literally every program that you can get your hands on. The $1,100 a week is the maximum you can get from unemployment if you can prove if the TWC decides that's how much you can get. And $1,100 a week is, in the grand scheme of things, maybe not enough to support an entire family. So there are a lot of other programs that you can apply for. Houston Arts Alliance has a grant specifically for artists and arts workers. We're really excited because we received a donation from the city of Houston, and we got $25,000 towards our $100,000 goal. So we just hit $61,000 in donations. We still have a long way to go before we can meet that full request, the full request of applicants, but we definitely have that application open, and we want every artist in Houston and the 8 surrounding counties to apply so that we can get you small grants while you're navigating the rest of the systems. So that's the first thing I would tell you to do. The second thing I would say is that our website, ready.haatx.com/COVID-19, has a lot of other grants that you can apply for. We're working on separating those grants into different disciplines. So if you're a musician, you can, you know where the musician grants are, and if you're an actor, then the actor grants, and so forth and so on. But we have a lot of grants there that are open that you can also apply for. But then the biggest pocket of money, of course, is the public assistance money. First thing you want to do is apply for unemployment. If you are self-employed, then you should also talk to your banker, or you can call SCORE, who was on a previous Fresh Arts Live, about applying for an SBA loan, some of which are reimbursable. So I know applying for a loan sounds scary and sounds like, I don't know if I want to take on a loan. How do I know if I'll be able to pay it back? But you really should talk to a financial advisor or these free people at SCORE who can talk to you about why taking on a loan might be the best option for you right now, and why these interest rates are really low, and that the government's here to help you out. The other thing you want to look at is that the CARES Act had a lot of things in it to help people like you and me. For example, if you have a mortgage and your mortgage is backed by the federal government, you, I believe, may not have to make payments. So you should talk to your mortgage lender. Talk to them about the CARES Act and say, hey, do I need to make payments right now? But also talk to them about the long-term repercussions of that. If you don't make payments right now, will you have a big balloon payment in 3 months? Right? So talk to your bankers and talk to your lenders. The other cool thing for me is that you don't have to make student loan payments right now because of that CARES Act. If you have a student loan, you do not have to make student loan payments, and you're not going to get any interest on your student loan. So you've got a really great time to not worry about that payment and to focus your little resources you do have on keeping yourself afloat. The last thing I would say is that you should call 211. 211 is a service provided by the United Way, and they have a huge database of all the resources that are available. Sorry about that. About all the resources that are available in the city of Houston for people. So there are programs that exist that even I don't know about through the city of Houston or through the Greater Assistance Ministries or through all sorts of things that the United Way of Houston that has in a huge database. You can call 211 and they'll be able to help you. They have everything from rental assistance to there's places where you can get food for your pets, right? If you've got cats like I do and you just need some cat food, they'll be able to hook you up with that. And to get food for your children or to get food for yourself. And then if you have done all of those things and you feel secure, we, of course, as a community are always looking for volunteers and always looking for people to help. And if you have capacity for that, we encourage you to go to volunteerhouston.org and sign up to volunteer if you can. So there's lots of resources out there, and I would encourage you to apply for and to reach out to every single one. There's not there's not a limit on the amount of money you can get. There's not a limit on the amount of services that you can apply for. And you as a person, this is your money, right? Even though you're an artist, you're not taking money or food out of the mouth of anyone else. This is for you. And we at HAA really want to encourage you to do this.
Great. So a follow-up question, then I have a question from a viewer. So a follow-up question in regards to student loans. I know from federal student loans, those are on hold. Do you know of anything regarding CARES about private student loans or student loans from a bank or anything like that, and the forms of protection or delay or anything like that?
So a lot of times when you think that you have a private student loan, you might actually have a federal student loan. So I would encourage everyone who has any student loan to contact your bank. Just call them and say, hey, what's going on? Contact your lender. What's the deal? Can I get a deferment? And most student loans will offer you a period of deferment anyway. You just may be the only difference is you may be accruing interest instead of not accruing interest if you have a federal student loan. But again, I say call your lender or send them an email, and they will be happy to help you through it.
And then, sorry, another follow-up question to that.
Oh.
I asked, and I'm going to ask this particular question because I know artists, come from many different backgrounds, and there are some different provisions in how student loans are forgiven or what have you. So if someone were to take advantage of this and not pay the student loan to really save that money, do you know that if that has any negative impact on any kind of forbearance or forgiveness programs?
I believe, and I don't know this for sure, but I believe that the CARES Act says that if you don't pay your student loans right now, that it doesn't affect any public work student loan forgiveness, whatever that public service student loan forgiveness. I believe that is not affected right now. I would again check with your lender because I am not 100% on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just feel like that need to be stated just so everyone is clear on that. Yeah. And so I have a question before we get to Jimmy, who was able to make the call. Thank you, Jimmy. A question from a viewer from Sunbeams. Do you know what if you filed a 1040 joint married and you didn't make all that money that is on the 1040? Do you know if that has any effect on the unemployment or any programs that you?
So the system is sophisticated enough to understand the difference. And so if you have filed jointly, it will ask you those questions. And of course, if you have questions, there's a Texas Workforce Commission. Sorry, somebody's telling me about student loans. Private student loans are not eligible for the 0% interest benefit. So the Education Department doesn't have any authority over those. To answer the question we were asking, you can call the TWC and get guidance about your specific situation, or they have this really sophisticated chat bot right on their front page where you can probably ask them about married income. I, as a married person, understand that, and it was able to sort of understand the difference between my wages and my husband's wages without me doing a significant amount of work at all, if that makes sense.
Awesome. No, for sure. Thank you. So apply. And I think someone from SCORE, when we had them on last time, they were very much about I think it was Earl who said these programs aren't going to kind of go out for you. They're really there in a lot of ways to kind of help you get along. And so you apply and they'll ask questions, to make sure that you're not doing anything wrong. And so it's in their best interest to ask you the right question to get you the money that you need.
They're the ones that are responsible to the federal government, not you, right? So they want to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Lauren. I'm going to get to Jimmy. Jimmy, could you please kind of give a summary uh, of you, of the program, department that you're overseeing, for people who
Sure,
don't know, who might not know, have not tuned in before?
sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jimmy Castillo. I'm the Director of Civic Art and Design at Houston Arts Alliance. And so our program at Houston Arts Alliance helps, it's by contract with the city. So we have a contract working with the city of Houston to help manage the Civic Art program, which is the public art program tied to the capital improvement projects that the city of Houston makes. So for example, when the city builds a new library or a new police station, a portion of that construction money goes to public art, and that's a program that the city's had since 1999. So what we're doing, there are projects, RFQs, and new commission projects that come up every now and then. These opportunities are really only available as the city is building things, and so we may go a year without having any opportunities or any open calls, and then in another year there may be a slew of them because buildings are popping up left and right. It just kind of depends on the way things go with construction and with the funding and schedules with the city of Houston. Here we're in a really interesting situation. The city of Houston has had a lot of opportunity that they've been working on with us for new commission projects, opportunities for artists. And they are just coming online. And actually, I think it's a really good thing and very fortunate thing that the city of Houston is continuing these projects and continuing putting these calls out specifically for the purpose of making sure that artists can still work, that artists are still working. And these projects are long-term projects. So this would be something like a commission, and you'd be having to do something probably for like 9 months or 10 months to do it. So it's something that allows us to kind of look into the future, look forward to having a little bit of work. The most recent RFQ and artist opportunity that we have out right now is for the A-Leaf Neighborhood Center, and this is a new, they're calling it a neighborhood center because it's going to be a new city facility that combines 3 city departments: the library, the health department, and the parks department. So it's going in an area, A-Leaf, that I think used to be a community park, and they're building this large facility and then all these parks facilities around the campus. And so the opportunity here is for 3 separate large-scale public art projects, and these are each around $260,000 commissions apiece. We have a artist information session later tonight at 5 o'clock. You can sign up at Houston Arts Alliance website under Public Art Opportunities. That's going to happen through Zoom, so you can get online with us and ask questions. We'll give you some information, and you have a chance to ask questions about the project and about submissions. These are really great projects to put out, I think, at this time. Again, this is the kind of thing that this is a kind of the normal operating thing. These projects, these commission projects, are for artists, and there's only 3 opportunities, so everyone should certainly submit their qualifications if they feel like they're interested or they want to try for the qualifications. But in the end, the opportunity is for 3 artists only. Luckily, there's more coming up. We are working with the city to release something for the Sunnyside Multi-Service Center. That is also a facility that's going under construction and renovation. And that's going to be 2 more opportunities, 2 more large-scale opportunities. We're hoping to get the details together to release later this month. And then the airport had been in the works. They've been working on releasing a group of projects, new commissions, and new acquisitions for existing work for both airports, and have ramped that up just specifically to be able to put out at this time to to help with getting some opportunity out to artists. So we're looking forward to that and hoping that that comes through really soon so we can put that out. And if we do, that's probably going to be something released in around the end of April or the beginning of May for artists to apply to. So those are the opportunities that are available right now.
Awesome. So I just kind of want to give a quick reminder to viewers, you're welcome to ask any questions in the comments below. They'll be screened and passed on to me that I can ask the panelists. Jimmy, kind of going into some of the details, maybe people who are not familiar with civic art and design, what are some projects that you can point to kind of give an example of what projects have been done in the past, maybe if they're looking for inspiration or if they just want to go out and look at some public art?
Sure. One of the nicest and kind of most public examples that we've seen for the last decade or so is the sculptures by Jean Maplenza that are on Allen Parkway at Studemont. They are the 7 steel kneeling figures, and their forms are made entirely with text and letters from different languages. That's a really nice, really grand kind of project, and probably really expensive. But I think it's a great example of public art. And then along Buffalo Bayou Park, we have the sculpture, the big bronze sculpture by Henry Moore. We have the large the land art piece by Jesus Morales, which is the Houston Police Officers Memorial. If you've ever been around there, it's the pink granite stepped pyramid that's kind of around the bend in the bayou. It's a beautiful piece and really well done. Some other kind of projects around, like historic projects. One of my favorites, of course, is the Luis Jimenez sculpture of the Vaquero in Moody Park. And then we have a newer sculpture by Dixie Friend Gay, which is at the Young Library. Kind of, what would that be, like South Side, kind of south of McGregor, I think. And that's a really nice addition to that library, these 3 sculptures of these chickens, like kind of young birds, I guess, that she's done with her very signature sort of metal sculpture and mosaic style that reference books that are in that library. And these sculptures are huge; they're gigantic. Let's see. Another of my favorites is the suspended sculpture by Elaine Bradford, which is at the Vinson Neighborhood Library. Again, very, very much of a signature work from a local artist, Houston artist making work. I believe the title of that piece is something that I can never remember if I pronounce it properly. I think it's called Pakikadi and His Flying Friends. And if you've never seen it, I hope you get a chance to look it up these days, or one of these days we can all get out and see it. But it's a suspended sculpture in the atrium of this library that is a baby elephant that appears to be shooting crocheted material out of its trunk and like seemingly onto these flying geese that are flying through the atrium. It's a really fun and colorful and imaginative sculpture, and one that I think is also references a book that she wrote for the project that is in the Vinson Library that you can also check out. So there's a whole story about the essentially these characters that are on this public artwork.
That sounds great, and I think
yeah.
the Awesome Lovely. I know I've been to the one that the large birds. That's my part of town, and I love those sculptures. So thank you, and I think your passion for this department and what it does, I think, is really evident. So thank you, Jimmy, for the work that you do. Could you give some insight into the process, like in terms of, for like the grants department, for example, they set up panels. They have their own process. Could you give a little bit of insight in the behind the scenes of how these RFQs are evaluated? Do you set up a panel? Do you show the developer or the whoever is drawing up the plans for the building, like to see if that works? Or yeah, please.
Sure. We do set up a panel. So the civic art process is we get these qualifications in, and so artists are asked to submit past work, maybe a letter of intent. No one's submitting anything that's like a proposal or anything that formal. And we set up a selection panel, which is made up of art professionals and usually someone, a representative or two from the department or from the building in which this artwork will be going. Very often these buildings, like in the case of A-Leaf and Sunnyside right now, are something that's in construction. Sometimes it's an existing building, and we have a different kind of perspective on that. But there's always someone from the facility or from the building or from the affected department that has a say in what's going on. And so this group, generally of 5 people, we put it together of 5 people working with the City of Houston and the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. And they look through the qualifications and generally select 3 artists for each opportunity to make full proposals. And so those lucky artists who get to be finalists and make proposals are generally paid for their proposal time, and that's generating a very formal sort of presentation, a full concept with a budget and everything to the selection panel, and then the selection panel from those finalist proposals selects the final artist and the final project to then go forward. After that, there's a series of approvals. So there's some approvals with the committee at the Houston Arts Alliance, and then there's the approvals with the city that go through the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs and the affected department. Before that finalist artist is approved and then enters into a commission contract. And then from that point, it goes into what we call final design, in which the artist's concept is then refined. The budget is mastered down to the much finer detail before anyone even starts constructing. During final design, it can be fun, especially if the building is under construction, because the artist has an opportunity to talk to the architects involved, the engineers, the city departments, and everybody, and really kind of get their design and their logistics and their engineering kind of all situated. And so it becomes a collaborative process in a lot of cases for a lot of these projects.
Cool. No, I think that really demonstrates that these things take work, and they take a lot of collaboration between different aspects of our society, of businesses, and really shows how much work goes into a building, into the art. Could you go into clarify maybe some things in regards to, like, are there certain ideas that maybe, or is this RFQ particularly more for like, or what's going to end up happening is, like, does one need to demonstrate maybe like a history of doing public art, or maybe do they need to have an idea that's Houston centered, or in this context like A-Leaf centered, or is this only open to Houston artists, or is it the county, the surrounding 8 counties, or what have you?
Sure. Each project we get to make the details for each project specific. So for the A-Leaf project, for example, the eligibility for qualifications is only within the greater Houston area. So that's the 9 counties surrounding Houston, including Harris County, of course. In some cases, eligibility is national or maybe even statewide. Very rarely it becomes international, usually because there's just a lot of travel and shipping and everything kind of involved. And so we want to be able to put more of those costs into the art rather than the shipping and the travel. But like I said, each opportunity is kind of it's kind of a different thing. So in the case of the A-Leaf and the Sunnyside projects, yes, the selection panel will probably want to look for artists who, of course, can demonstrate that they've either done projects, maybe public art projects or any other kind of projects that have a kind of a significant size, or maybe that they can demonstrate that they've worked with other fabricators or teams, because for a project this size, an artist will have to put together a team of people to be able to accomplish that kind of thing. In other cases, I've seen selections and projects go where maybe an artist doesn't have a whole lot of specific public art experience to show, but they do show like a good track record of accomplishment, and they can demonstrate that they have this experience kind of working in a collaborative environment in some cases, and in other cases with a lot of support from their community, from their professional networks and everything. So the qualifications for airport projects tend to be different, in that the A-Leaf projects will be, and the Sunnyside projects will be very much community focused, neighborhood focused. Part of the goals of those projects is to reflect or at least respond to the diverse communities that are in these neighborhoods, the long histories that these communities have in these neighborhoods, and be a really significant addition to the artwork, to public artwork for the neighborhood as well as to the city as a whole. At the airport, it's a little different because obviously there's not really a neighborhood at the airport. I mean, there are neighborhoods that surround the airport, but that's kind of a different thing. The community or such at the airport is really transient. It's mostly travelers, and so the people at the airport projects that go in these selection panels tend to be people from airport staff and then art professionals, and those projects tend to be different in the way that they're responding generally to what goes on at the airport rather than what goes on in a neighborhood. And so, like, yeah, all these projects are really specific to the needs of each site, really.
Awesome. So could you give maybe a link, or could you state a link or a way for people to find more info about this?
Sure. So, yeah, obviously they can go to the Houston Arts Alliance website and look under public art opportunities. That's where we'll be posting all of these opportunities that come up. We'll be announcing these through our newsletter. So please subscribe to our newsletter, and certainly on all of our Facebook and Instagram accounts, we'll be posting these opportunities as they happen, as well as reminders for artist info sessions and any deadlines that come up. So please remember, for A-Leaf, at least we know the deadline is May 11th, and we have an artist information session via Zoom tonight, April 16th at 5 p.m.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so. This is primarily for visual artists, so sculpture, painting. I'm sure you know more, Jimmy, if you could state maybe what programs or like what types of visual arts have a good chance of applying or getting through.
Yeah, this is mainly for visual arts, visual artists, sculptors. Probably have the best chance, honestly. Anyone who's done anything with any kind of 3D will probably be really good for the A-Leaf projects, because the three of the opportunities are suspended sculptures from the ceiling of the facility, and then another one is for something outdoors, sort of near the what they're going to call the butterfly garden, which is more than likely going to have to be something three-dimensional or something sculptural. If you are if you are a painter, keep your eyes out. That's not the only kind of opportunities that happen. Every now and then the city needs a mural or a mosaic opportunity, and whenever the airport does what they call portable works acquisitions, sometimes they just call for artists with existing artworks, existing paintings, existing sculptures that can be put on display at the airport.
Great. So before we round out the discussion, some follow-up questions for Lauren in particular. Lauren, are there any kind of things that people should keep an eye out for that are coming up from your department? Are there, because I know you HA has like a list of resources, a web page of resources that is regularly updated. Is there any kind of like plans or updates that are going to be made for that people should keep an eye out for, or what?
Sure. Yeah, so one of the things we're working on right now is a flow chart to help people understand all the options that are out there. What we've been hearing is that there's too many options and it's hard to know, what to do first and when to do them. So we're working on something like this that will be specifically for other kinds of public assistance. We also are going to be instituting most likely a town hall structure. We had one last night where we had about 75 people from our community come into a Zoom meeting, and we had some great conversation about what the community needs. And so we will likely be doing more of those, so watch out for them. And then, we have some other things coming, but nothing that we're ready to announce yet.
All good. All right. So again, thank you two. If you want to drop any links now or any social media handles, go ahead and state them before we head out.
I think, for both of us, it's HoustonArtsAlliance.com. You can get all of our information there. We actually just updated the website if you haven't been there in a while. And then for me, it's ready.haatx.com. That's where you can learn not just about COVID-19, but how to be better prepared in general for this disaster or the next one.
Of course. All right. So again, thank you two for all the great information. Please, everyone, stay tuned to haatx.com. Go visit, sign up for the newsletters. I've seen some really great resources from them. I know they're always working on it. Again, thank you for all the work you two are doing. Thank you for coming on here today. I look forward to seeing y'all again. And please, anyone, if anyone has any questions for them, again, visit that website, haatx.com. And yeah, tune into those town halls. A lot of organizations like Fresh Arts, like Houston Arts Alliance, rely on feedback from the community to know what to act upon, to know what information to pass on, to what to look into. So please be a part of those discussions, those conversations, so that we can know how best to serve you. So again, thank you two. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Reyes.
Thanks, Reyes.
See y'all later. So yeah, there you have it. Again, some really great opportunities coming up, some really great things on the horizon in the context of this crisis. So I hope this information was useful for you. I hope there's some things to look forward to. So please apply for everything that if you even have an idea that you could apply for it. You really never know. Again, everything is changing day by day, and some opportunities may open up. So it's best to have those things on hand, like your CV, like your pay stubs, like anything information that you've seen reoccurring, and you might even see when you apply to these different funds and grants or qualifications, what have you. You're going to see kind of the constant of like what they're asking for. So it's always good, just in general, to have those things ready. You are more than welcome to go to fresharts.org and go to our artist resource library, where we have some of those resources on how to create a proposal, how to figure out a budget, how to have an online presence, all that good stuff. Just go to fresharts.org. As always, you're more than welcome to email us to let us know if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have anything you would like for us to go look into. We'd be more than happy to obviously discuss that with you. So please, there's the form that will be posted in the comments, but also on our resource page. So please let us know what you would like covered, what questions you have, if you have any events or if you have any stories. Please let us know. We always want the greater Houston community and the world at this point to know that Houston remains strong, that Houston remains doing great things. And also, we just want to just blast it out there. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Tune in next Tuesday for the resource roundup. I do research all the time, just like everyone else is doing, and hopefully I can provide some insight for you, and hopefully you'll find that information useful. So again, stay tuned. Subscribe to our newsletters if you haven't already. Apply for all the things, and I hope you get them. There's our website. Please subscribe. We have Art on Tap, and we have the Artist Resource newsletter that goes out. So please stay in conversation with us. Don't be a stranger. Sign up. Oh yeah, there you go. There's Houston Arts Alliance. Thank you to them again for providing us information, for speaking to us, and for always being willing to be on the show. So thanks, everyone. Thank you to Ben Doyle of Bend Productions, who makes everything on this video look nice and sleek and smooth. So again, thank you, Ben. And again, thank you to Angela Carranza, my colleague, who sets a lot of these things up, who is behind the scenes. You may not see her, but she is here all the time. So again, thank you to everyone. Artists, stay well, stay safe. Everyone, stay well, stay safe. So again, see you next time. Thank you.